My dad bought the same $40 boot every single year for 15 years. Same store, same brand, same conversation every winter. Why spend more when this does the job? $40. Practical, responsible, smart. Except when I sat down and actually ran the math, I found out he spent over $600 on boots. And the guy who bought one pair of $280 boots in 2009, he spent $340 total over 15 years, including two resolings. My dad spent nearly double and died thinking he was the responsible one. But here's the thing that's going to make this video different from every other buy quality, not cheap video you've seen. Because halfway through, I'm going to show you a category where the expensive version is mathematically worse every single time. And most people, even financially smart people, get this completely wrong. There's a line between quality and luxury, and on one side of that line, you save thousands of dollars. On the other side, you get robbed, and the two sides look almost identical in the store. I'm Yash, and I spend way too much time running the math behind everyday financial decisions so you don't have to. What I'm about to show you in the next 10 minutes is going to permanently change how you read a price tag, not just for boots, not just for sneakers, but for everything you buy. There's a formula that financially sharp people have been quietly using for decades. It's brutal in its simplicity, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Here's what actually happens when most of us stand in a store. We look at the number on the tag and our brain treats it like a simple subtraction problem. $40 minus $280, cheap wins by $240. Done. But that number on the tag is not the price you actually pay. It never was. The real price is called cost per use, and the formula is this. Take what you paid, divide it by how many times you'll actually use it. That's your real price, not the sticker, the real one. Let's run it on sneakers first because almost everyone watching this buys them regularly. A $65 pair with daily casual wear breaks down structurally in 4 to 5 months. The sole compresses, the cushioning collapses. Conservatively, that's about 3 pairs a year. Over 3 years, you've spent somewhere between $195 and $390. And your feet have been slowly absorbing the damage of degraded support the whole time. A $200 quality pair, denser foam, reinforced construction, built to last, goes 3 years or more with basic care. 3-year cost, $200 flat. The expensive sneaker just came out $100 to $190 cheaper. The cheap sneaker wasn't the budget option. It was the most expensive thing in the room, and it disguised itself perfectly. Now, watch what happens when you apply this same formula to things nobody ever thinks to question. Your mattress. The average American spends $200 to $250 on a mattress and replaces it every 3 to 4 years because it's sagging and quietly wrecking their sleep. Over 10 years, that's 2 or 3 purchases. You've spent up to $750 and you slept badly the entire time. Here's the number that should actually stop you. You spend 1/3 of your entire life on that mattress. 1/3. A quality mattress in the $700 to $900 range lasts 8 to 10 years and actually supports your spine correctly. 10-year cost? Roughly the same or lower than the cheap cycle. Quality wins again, and you got better sleep every single night. Fast fashion. According to McKinsey's Global Fashion Index, the average American now buys around 68 garments per year. The average fast fashion item gets worn 7 times before it's discarded. 7. So you're buying mountains of clothing, wearing each piece a handful of times and cycling it out because it fell apart, pilled, or you simply stopped reaching for it. A $15 shirt worn 7 times has a cost per use of $2.14. A $65 shirt from a quality brand worn 80 times, a conservative number for something you actually like and that fits well, comes out to 81 cents per wear. The math isn't close, and yet every single time, the $15 shirt feels like the responsible choice in the store.
This is the part that turns it from a math problem into a psychology problem. Behavioral economists call it present bias. Our brains are wired to feel the pain of spending money right now, intensely, immediately, while completely discounting future costs that feel abstract and distant. Spending $200 today feels like a $200 loss. Spending $65 six times across 3 years feels like six small, manageable moments. But your bank account doesn't care how the withdrawals felt, it only counts the total. And the total on cheap is almost always worse. There's another layer researchers have identified called the sunk cost replacement trap. When cheap breaks, we rarely connect the replacement cost back to the original decision. The brain resets. It feels like a fresh, responsible choice each time. Another reasonable $65 decision, not the fourth installment of a $260 mistake. Over a decade, these invisible replacements compound into serious money that you never consciously chose to spend. Now, here's where I promise to flip this entirely, because this is not a video telling you to go spend more money. This is a math video, and the math cuts both ways. There is an entire category of so-called premium products where the price has absolutely nothing to do with durability, function, or quality. Everything to do with a logo. And this is exactly where the cost per use math turns against the expensive option completely. Here's what the luxury industry doesn't put in their advertising. According to research from Bain & Company, luxury brands raised their prices between 2019 and 2025 by a factor of 1.5 to 1.7 times above inflation. A bag that cost $1,800 in 2019 costs nearly $3,200 today. Did the leather improve? Did the stitching get better? The manufacturing cost of many of these handbags sits between $150 and $400. You are paying a $2,800 premium for a name printed on a piece of hardware. By late 2024, even the core luxury consumer base had started pulling back. Bain estimated the addressable luxury market shrank from around 400 million consumers in 2022 to closer to 340 million by 2025, because people ran the math and felt what that number actually meant. A $380 Allen Edmonds dress shoe is built on a Goodyear welt, can be resold multiple times, and will outlast 3 or 4 pairs of $90 mall shoes. That's quality justifying price. The math works. A $450 designer sneaker made from the exact same materials as a $90 version, just with a different logo stitched on the tongue. The math absolutely does not work. Same materials, zero additional function, 5 times the cost per use. That's not a quality purchase. That's a branding purchase dressed up to look like one. This is the line that separates the two sides. And here's the 3-question framework that lets you see it clearly before you hand over your card on anything significant. Question 1. How often will I actually use this? Daily use justifies quality. Weekly or monthly use might justify a mid-tier option. Rarely used? Buy the cheapest functional version, or don't buy at all. Be brutally honest here, because most of us dramatically overestimate how often we'll actually reach for something. Question 2. What is the cost per use over 3 years? Get your phone out right now. Price divided by realistic uses. Take 60 seconds. A $200 standing desk used 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, works out to roughly $0.07 per use. A $200 pair of shoes worn twice a year clears $1 per wear before the first month is done. Identical price tag, completely different math. Question 3. Am I paying for durability and function or for a brand story? This is the line that separates the financially intelligent purchase from the aspirational one. Quality justifies price. Heritage marketing and status signaling do not. If you can't point to a specific functional reason why the expensive version lasts longer, performs better, or costs less per use over time, you're not buying quality. You're buying the feeling of quality. And that feeling has a massive markup. One more thing almost nobody factors in that changes the math significantly is resale value. Cheap goods have zero resale value. None. You throw them away, and every dollar you spent is gone. Quality goods often retain meaningful value. The U.S. secondhand and resale market is projected to hit over $17 billion in 2026. A quality tool, a well-maintained cast iron pan, certain mechanical watches, solid furniture, these sell for 40 to 70 cents on the dollar years later. That shrinks the net cost of a quality item even further. The net cost of a cheap disposable never changes. It's always exactly what you paid because nobody will give you a cent for it. Here's the quick breakdown for exactly where this matters most in 2026, because inflation has made the gap between cheap and quality wider than it's been in a generation. Invest in quality for footwear if you're on your feet daily, your mattress and sleep setup, cookware you use multiple times a week, outerwear if you live somewhere with real winters, and your desk chair if you work from home. The average remote worker sits at their desk around 1,700 hours per year. A $400 ergonomic chair costs you fractions of a cent per hour. A $90 chair that ruins your back and sends you to physical therapy costs dramatically more when you run the full math. Cheap is genuinely fine for seasonal trendy fashion you'll stop wearing in a year, decorative items you plan to rotate, gym equipment if you're just starting out and not sure it's a permanent habit, and tech accessories that get replaced with your next phone upgrade regardless. And go used or pre-owned for quality without paying the full premium on furniture, cars, mechanical watches, and quality kitchen equipment. The second-hand market exists specifically to close the gap between quality and price. Use it aggressively. Think back to those boots. Think back to those sneakers. Those receipts weren't showing responsibility. They were showing what happens when you optimize for the number on the tag instead of the math behind it. The person buying $65 sneakers every few months wasn't being frugal. They were on an invisible installment plan for the same product, and the payments were spread just far enough apart that they never noticed. You don't have to be wealthy to buy quality. In many cases, buying quality is exactly how you stop the cycle that's quietly draining more money from you than you realize. The financially intelligent move is not always the expensive one. It is definitely not always the cheapest one. It is always, always the one where you've actually run the numbers. Cost divided by uses. That's the whole formula. Run it before any significant purchase, and I promise you, a cheap price tag will never feel safe again. Next week, we're running this exact same math on cars, and the number most people quietly waste over a 10-year period is going to floor you. You don't want to miss that one.